Hi guys, I hope that you are doing well, and today I would like to discuss the forecast for August 2022 for all 12 signs. And I would say that the signs that are going to feel this energy in a more challenging way are fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. I would say that fire signs, well, specifically Sagittarius and Aries, Leo 50-50, they're going to feel the energies in a more lighthearted and a more positive way. And actually earth signs are going to feel it in a much more positive, easier flowing, easier going way towards the end of the month after the 20th when we enter Virgo season. Okay, but before I jump to the forecast, I would like to talk about the sponsor of today's video, and of course it is Keen. Guys, I've been using Keen for a very long time, for a few years now. I've been working with them and I love this company and I love their website because not only that I've been working with them, I've also been their client. Keen remains one of the most trusted sources to connect with spiritual advisors, to receive spiritual advice. What I like about their website is that they offer a variety of different services based on your personal preference. You can contact an astrologer, you can contact a tarot reader, you can contact a medium. And I've had a pretty interesting experience when I was using Keen for my own personal questions. I did connect with a couple people that I wouldn't say I was the biggest fan of, right? I just couldn't connect with them energetically. However, I did connect with a couple that I will never forget, considering that they weren't able to even see my picture. They didn't even know what I sounded like because I used the chat option. And the details that I got to know and how those details later on played out in life, that was really spooky. And this is how I know that this website has an incredible amount of experienced, gifted advisors that are suitable for everyone. I do advise to read reviews for sure. If you feel like you're connecting with someone, read reviews because that's very helpful for you to be able to know whether or not you want to actually contact them. And what I do love about the website is that it offers chat and call option depending on your time zone, where you are in the world, depending on the personal preference, how you would like to be contacting the advisor. It's very convenient, it's very flexible, and I do have a friend actually that offers services on there as well, so I'm very familiar with Keen. And today I have an offer for you guys. I do have an offer for new customers only, and it is $1.99 for the first 10 minutes. I do have a link for you. It is trykeen.com/111. If you use my link, I do earn commission, but you do end up using those first 10 minutes for only $2 to connect with anybody from the website that you would like. And the fact that they have so many different services, so many different experts in different fields, I feel like it can be very easy to find someone that you can truly connect with. But thank you so much, Keen, for sponsoring this video. And now we're going to move on to all 12 signs. Before I do that though, I would like to mention the events that I'm going to be discussing. There are always a lot of events going on every month astrologically in the sky, but I'm going to mention 5. Okay, so the first one I'm going to mention is August 7th, Venus trining Neptune and opposing Pluto as well around the same time. The second event, August 11th /12th, depending on where you are in the world, there is a full moon in Aquarius conjunct retrograde Saturn. The third event is happening on August 13th. This is Mars trining Pluto. Then August 27th, the fourth event, new moon in Virgo squaring Mars. Okay, and the last event that I would like to talk about is happening on August 21st, and it's Mars entering Gemini for a very, very long time. Okay, now let's move on to Aries. Hi Aries. So dynamic month. I would say it's more positive for you though, because you are a fire sign and Leo energy is making a trine to you. But let's talk about the first event, August 7th, Venus trining Neptune. Venus is trining Neptune from your 4th house to your 12th house, and it's opposing Pluto in your 10th house at the same time. I feel like with Venus trining Neptune in the beginning of the month, aside from the chaos that's happening in Taurus in your financial sector, and not even a chaos necessarily, right? But some changes there. I feel like you are trying to find some kind of beauty, some kind of peace in solitude, or in in your spiritual journey, in something that is not seen by others. You're trying to kind of emotionally heal or emotionally calm yourself in the beginning of August. And in order to do that, you have to either seek a certain spiritual practice, or maybe you have to kind of seek solitude and heal there, or not just heal, but maybe focus on your mental health, focus on your emotional health, and you know, spiritual kind of as well. And there is peace and almost beauty that you find in solitude, that you find kind of behind the scenes, under the surface, where nobody is watching. However, opposing, you know, Venus opposing Pluto in the 10th house, it's almost like the job is calling, though. The public life is calling. You know, there are people that want to see you. There are people that want to interact with you. There are people that are demanding something from you. You know, maybe work projects, maybe some obligations, some responsibilities. And this may feel almost weird in a way. You know, it may feel like, well, you know, here I am experiencing this spiritual awakening possibly, or maybe, you know, healing my emotional health, healing my mental health, and I want to be left alone. You know, I want to be left alone. I want to be in my home, or I want to travel somewhere. I want to retreat. But these worldly obligations, you know, career obligations, or maybe parental as well, are calling me. So there is almost like balance and imbalance at the same time happening in the beginning of August that you may want to pay attention to. Because while, you know, there are those obligations, while there are those people that are demanding something from you, you also can't forget that you need to work on that mental health, on that emotional health as well. Because when, if not now, you know, there is never enough time. But that's the challenge. We need to find the time to work on those issues, or I should say to work on those matters, not necessarily issues. August 11th or 12th, depending on where you are in the world, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your 11th house, and it's conjunct retrograde Saturn. Well, that full moon is one of the most challenging full moons of the year in my opinion, and I will have a separate video on it. I feel like there is something ending that's a big chapter, even though it's just a you know, ordinary full moon, but at the same time it has an element of that Uranus energy in Taurus, a Saturn energy in Aquarius, right? So a challenge that we've been dealing with since 2021. There is something culminating here, something challenging, something restricting, but you may have to change something just one more time. You may have to go back in time. You may have to finish a certain responsibility one more time, you know, before you can move forward here. And I would say that with full moon in Aquarius in your 11th house, this is regarding your community or regarding your long-term goals. So there is a major project that you maybe were responsible for is coming to an end, and it's within your community, or it's within a team of people, and it's been challenging, it's been restricting you. Maybe you haven't had time to do anything better about your life because of this project that has been lingering for so long. But now that it's ending, you're able to kind of spread your wings. You know, I feel like it's a liberating energy here through a challenge, unfortunately. 11th house is also long-term goals. You may have had to change them, you know, manipulate, or I should say maneuver your life around these challenges to be able to create a new long-term goal. Maybe the original long-term goal has not quite worked here. Maybe it was way too challenging to make happen, right, in real life. So maybe there is a set of new goals that is coming. What it also could be is that a wish is coming true, but a wish is coming true through a challenge. For example, you had to wait a very long time for this wish to come to fruition. Maybe you had to get a lot done just so you can have this wish. You know, sometimes wishes just come true like that, and sometimes we have to do a lot of hard work to make them come true. So that could also be the case here. On August 13th, we have Mars trining Pluto from your 2nd to your 10th house. And actually, this is happening after Mars square Saturn from your 2nd to 11th house about August 7th, August 8th, something like that. So this can actually indicate that you are finally taking action on a certain project, on a certain work project possibly, that is actually becoming successful now, that is coming to fruition now, something that you're able to show to the world, something that you can really receive recognition for now, okay? Because when Mars squared Saturn in your 11th house, 2nd and 11th, a few days prior, you know, this could mean that maybe the community was restricting you, the team of people that you may be working on this work project with may have been restricting you, there may have been disputes within the community, within the team, or maybe within your goals simply. What it could also be is that, for example, you were promised a reward, you were promised a promotion, a raise, and that was delayed, or maybe there were issues there, you know, maybe the authorities, you know, the bosses, the management, whoever, maybe they weren't really on the same page here. However, now after August 13th, there is a chance that this particular dispute that may have happened on August 8th or around that date can lead to a promotion, can lead to a reward, can lead to recognition, to a new source of income, and so on. And you've done it with your own hands, you know what I mean? You've contributed to it completely, you and just you. If anything, you know, if there was a team of people that was working with you, they may have actually tried to stop you here, or may have not been a big help, but you're able to achieve something that you truly want in your career. August 21st, we've got Mars moving into Gemini, into your 3rd house, and it will remain there until March 2023. So I would say that this transit is going to activate your mind very strongly. You're going to possibly feel that urge to travel a lot, to gather knowledge as much as possible, to buy this course, to buy this webinar. Aside from your maybe day job, you want to get this course and this course about something that is totally different, you know, something that has nothing to do with your current career. However, what it could also be is that maybe you are interested in kind of boosting your qualification, improving your qualification for your career. What it could also be is that you may actually be going back in time eventually around late October and re-studying something that maybe you used to do in the past, but then you abandoned it, and now you want to refresh your memory, you want to study something all over again and apply it to your career possibly. So it could be kind of going back to the old knowledge and refreshing your memory. This could also just give you a very active mind and anxiety. Unfortunately, you know, I currently have Mars in the 3rd house, transiting my 3rd house, and yeah, I would totally say that it gives me a lot of anxiety. You know, I am generally a very anxious person, but this definitely intensifies that anxiety, intensifies like the nervous system. So be careful with that, you know, try and maybe ground yourself a little bit more, because Gemini energy is also a little chaotic, and in the 3rd house, you know, while it feels okay there, considering that it is Gemini house, at the same time, you know, it is Mars after all, and while it can bring you lots of ambition and lots of, it's like a sharp mind, and you want to learn, and you want to gather all the knowledge, you want to travel for knowledge, you want to interact and make all these different acquaintances, it can make you exhausted. You know, it can make you exhausted. I've been through work and through school communicating with a lot of people in the last few weeks while, you know, Mars has been in my 3rd house, and while I feel very enthusiastic about it, you know, now I love meeting new people, used to hate meeting new people, now I love it, you know, making new friends and new acquaintances and things like that, networking, but at the same time, it's draining. It's draining for anybody, whether you are sociable or not. So I would watch out for that energy. And the last event that I would like to talk about is new moon in Virgo happening on August 27th in your 6th house. And it's actually squaring Mars in the 3rd house. There's also a T-square going on that day. Again, there will be a separate video for this. But I will say that 6th house squaring 3rd house, I feel like there is a new schedule that's coming, possibly connected to studying and working at the same time, and because you have to juggle both, there is a new schedule coming. There may be, by the way, watch for any kind of changes in your health, because with very active mind, with Mars in the 3rd house, with a lot happening, with you possibly putting some pressure on yourself with Jupiter retrograding in your first house. Your body may feel exhausted, your mind may feel exhausted, your immune system can be a little weaker around this new moon, considering that, you know, Mars is also making a square. So it could be that you may feel very exhausted. It could be that maybe you need to calm your mind somehow. And with a new moon, you know, there are simply more things coming to take care of, more responsibilities, whether they're work related or just overall schedule related. There is a change in routine somehow, you know, and I believe it's more neutral rather than negative or positive. It's just a change of schedule. It's just a change in routine. And you may have to figure out how to not lose your mind square to Mars in the third over this, right? Over this new schedule. How to be able to juggle and maintain all of it. And at the same time, also how to be able to get something new. Like add something new into your routine. I would say this is the kind of new moon that you could be expecting, guys. Maybe a document can also come up that you need to work through, and there may be more effort required to finish these documents than you thought, for example. Okay, but that is it, dear Aries. I hope that this was helpful. Now we're moving on to Taurus. Hi, Taurus. So you guys are still the stars of the show, and August, as long as, you know, the sun is moving through the sign of Leo, it can be kind of a more challenging energy rather than not. However, good news is that once you are coming out of Leo season, you know, after, I want to say, the 20th of August, you're going to start feeling much lighter, much more positive, because we're entering Virgo season, and of course, Virgo is your sister sign. So the first event, August 7th, Venus from your third house is making a trine to Neptune in your 11th house and opposing Pluto at the same time in your 9th house. So there seems to be maybe this beautiful energy, this positivity, this like warmth in your soul, coming from your community, coming from people in your circle, new acquaintances that you may be making, old acquaintances that you may be allowing back into your life, possibly, you know, new, old, doesn't matter. But there are people around you, and they are actually uplifting you. They're very supportive. They definitely help you. They help you kind of stay grounded, stay sane, you know, especially through all of the changes that are happening with Uranus and the North Node in your sign. You know you're moving in the right direction, and the community is very supportive. However, Venus is also opposing Pluto in your 9th house, and it seems like maybe all the changes that are happening in your life are kind of stalling your journey that you have had in mind, like that horizon that you have had in mind that you want to be moving towards. All of these changes, all of these interactions with others may be almost kicking you off track. There seems to be this higher calling that you know is out there, especially with the North Node in your sign. You know that there is some kind of a higher calling. You know you need to move towards it, but you don't know how. You feel like maybe you get too distracted. You feel like maybe it's too challenging. You feel like maybe it's too far away. How do I even get to this new beginning? How do I even get to this transformation? I also feel like maybe if you are in school right now, if you're trying to gather some new knowledge, learn a new skill, this could be challenging energy in a way where you know, you want to gather that knowledge, but something is distracting you constantly. Something is throwing new things into the mix, and you don't know what to believe. You know, it's almost like you're working towards a certain goal, and you know that there is that higher calling, but at the same time you may feel confused in terms of your beliefs, whether or not this is actually true, whether or not this is actually your calling, and how to get to it. It may kind of cause confusion and a lack of control around the beginning of August. But considering that you will already be dealing with a lot, you know, like Uranus North Node conjunction Mars also going through your sign still, there may be that energy of feeling a little lost, feeling good, feeling optimistic, but at the same time not really seeing the reality clearly quite yet, okay? Now on August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live, we have full moon in Aquarius in your 10th house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. So there is definitely, I believe, something challenging coming to a close, coming to an end in regards to your public image, your status, your career. But because it's a very challenging full moon, guys, and I do consider it one of the most challenging, and I will make a separate video on it, of course, but considering that it is, right, it's not easy. It's something that just, oh, something ends. No, we have to push it to end. We have to go back in time with that retrograde Saturn. We have to finish something from the past, an obligation, a responsibility from the past, something frustrating, right? But this full moon is also making an aspect to Uranus. So we have to liberate ourselves through a challenge. And you will be liberating your image, your status, your public image, how you're viewed in the world, how you're viewed by authorities, how you view your own authority. It could be actually very tricky energy with one of your parents as well, or authority. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to liberate yourself in the eyes of authorities, in front of authorities. So it's a challenging full moon, but the good thing about it is that something here is ending, it is culminating, and we will have that strength to be able to overcome it and complete something that is related to our status, or that is related to our career, that we couldn't maybe for a very long time, since 2021. So that's a big chance here to complete it finally. August 13th, Mars is going to trine Pluto from your 1st to your 9th house. After actually another aspect of Mars in the 1st squaring Saturn in your 10th, and that was around August 7th, August 8th, okay? But this one, a trine to Pluto, is happening on the 13th. So it seems like if you've been confused regarding the path, right? If you've been confused regarding where is this journey taking you, do I maybe move far away? Do I travel far away? Do I experience all these different cultures, or do I get on this spiritual journey specifically? Or maybe do I start this legal case? Do I finish this legal case? Do I apply for my, citizenship, right? Or do I not? Like, all those questions, most likely, most of them at least, are going to be resolved probably around August 13th, because with enthusiasm that you are going to have, with the ambition, with almost like this courage that Mars is giving you in the 1st house, you're going to be able to go and conquer those new horizons and enter that new beginning and that new horizon in front of you that you've been possibly eyeing for a while. You're able to take that international journey. You're able to maybe start a legal case, for example, an immigration case, right? You are able to maybe go and enroll in that college that you've been wanting. You will find the resources for it and all that. And considering that Mars was squaring Saturn a couple days prior, around August 7th or 8th, that could mean that maybe you felt restricted by the authorities or by your job, restricted by the obligations and responsibilities in the world, where you're seen by many, if not all, and when things are expected from you, obligations, responsibilities, you may have felt restricted there, but now you have green light to go and take that journey, whether it's a physical journey or a metaphorical one. Good luck, guys. You're becoming more and more free every day in August. Okay, August 21st, Mars is entering Gemini, your 2nd house, until March 2023. There will be a big focus on your income, how to improve your income, potentially even bringing up old sources of income into the mix and trying them out and seeing if they work. There could also be some expenses that maybe you will have to, like a large expense that you will have to like pay off later. For example, get a loan and then have to pay it off slowly but surely until March 2023. There may also be really looking in the mirror and trying and understanding your values and how you value yourself in the first place, because if you love yourself, the rest of people love you. I'm not sure how the saying specifically goes, but you know, in order for people to respect us, we have to respect ourselves first, right? And this can be a big thing here, because you are becoming stronger and stronger. Your character is growing and it's strengthening. And you're able to really differentiate now who is respecting you, who is taking advantage of you. And that could clear up your social circle, to be quite honest, until March 2023. But, you know, for others, it could just talk about your financial new beginnings, being very active in terms of making money, seeing new horizons, seeing positivity, seeing new goals in front of you, wanting to reach them, wanting to be more self-sufficient. And just being overall excited about it. Excited to make more money, more resources for a better life. August 27th, we have a new moon in Virgo in your 5th house, squaring Mars in the 2nd. So this one here, there will be a very positive project, a very optimistic, something that makes you happy. It could be a launch of your own business. It could be maybe I don't know, like a blog that you could create, a website that you could create. Maybe it could be something like a creative idea. Maybe you're going to start posting things on Etsy that you hand make, right? Maybe you're going to start your own, I don't know, clothing business, for example, right? Sell something online. But there are some tensions there when it comes to either how you're going to be making money from it. You want to monetize on it for sure, this project, okay, that comes with the Virgo new moon, but you need to figure out how. And there may be some ups and downs there, some changes that need to be made, some adjustments there, so that you can monetize on it freely. It's more positive, I would say. You know, it can also require an expense before it brings you anything back. That could also be the case. But I do believe that it's going to be a very positive time. And overall, with Virgo season, you guys are going to start feeling much lighter and much more optimistic. Thank you guys so much for watching. And now we're moving on to Gemini. Hi Gemini, I hope that you are doing well. So the first event that I would like to discuss is August 7th, Venus from your 2nd house is trining Neptune in your 10th house and actually opposing Pluto in your 8th house. So there is a project, potentially a work project, that can bring you money now, and it's not even that you get this big gift, this big payout. It's more like a feeling, you know, feeling successful, feeling like you're doing the right thing, feeling that you are in the career where you belong, or maybe you are starting a career that you feel like you belong to, or maybe you've changed up your sources of income, how you're making money, and you feel more optimistic about the future. You feel like this is your thing. But opposing Pluto in the 8th, you know, this may actually, while you may be dealing with positive changes in terms of your income, your resources, maybe your partner isn't. And with Pluto opposing from the 8th, it's like, well, you know, I am self-sufficient somewhat, you know, but there are people that need me. There are people that need my financial help. There are people that are dependent on me. And that feeling could come up, you know, not anything dramatic, but it can feel a little frustrating, you know, that, well, you know, I'm doing this and this, I'm working really hard, I'm succeeding in my career possibly, or I finally found what I want to do and how I want to make money and what I want to save up for possibly. I have a goal, for example, I don't know, I want a car and I want to save up for this car, right? Just an example. But then something from the 8th house is taking from you. And it can be a little frustrating, you know, and it doesn't have to be a romantic partner or like a marriage partner that takes your resources. It can be someone else, and it can be a bank, it can be a loan that you're paying off. You know, it's just a feeling of frustration for a little bit. Yeah, and it could also be maybe a little bit of not necessarily ego being harmed in a way, but, you know, value, self-value, how you value yourself may be a little shaken up because you feel like you are your own authority. You feel like you are someone, you know, or something in this world. And then, you know, with Pluto from the 8th, any small crisis that may happen in your life, anything that someone can say, someone can kind of sting you, you know, makes you feel like you're not worthy. Okay, that can be that feeling around August 7th, but it's not really that big of a deal. August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live in the world, we're going to have a full moon in the 9th house in Aquarius, conjunct retrograde Saturn. A challenging full moon, not gonna lie, but for you, I mean, you are lucky because it's making a trine to you from the 9th house. So I feel like if you have been maybe wanting to travel either internationally, or maybe you are somewhere right now, you're ready to travel back home, it seems like it's been quite a journey, physically and metaphorically, like quite a journey. And maybe, you know, with documents, it was just a pain to collect all the documents, to get them in order, to be able to maybe prove something to the judge or prove something to the authorities, to the government. But you are finally completing this now. You will no longer have to come back to those documents. You know, you may have been dealing with them since 2021. And these could be college documents. These could be immigration documents. This could be just like passports, IDs, and, you know, things like that. This could even be maybe some kind of a dispute between you and someone else in court. But there are documents potentially involved, and with retrograde Saturn, most likely they're very old. And now this is finally coming to an end, and you're not going to feel as challenged as other signs. However, the full moon in the whole, you know, it is pretty challenging. And I will say that it is going to liberate you from a certain responsibility, either connected to court, connected to a different country, connected to someone foreign, possibly, or maybe education. Okay, it's liberating you. You no longer have to come back to it. And of course, I am going to have a separate video on it, but I feel like for you, it's quite liberating. For you, it's like easier to breathe after this. You no longer have to deal with this case or with this journey, with this trip, with this college, and so on. So yeah. Also spiritually things could really change. You know, you could go back to the spiritual practice that used to be very important to you in the past as well. August 13th, we have Mars trining Pluto from your 12th house to your 8th house, after Mars from your 12th house squaring Saturn in your 9th, around the 7th or 8th of August. So at first you may have experienced a challenge, and now you're experiencing a positive change. So what can it be? I feel like, again, if you are connected to foreign land by any means, or if you are connected to any kind of legal cases, there may have been a restriction there. You may have, in the beginning of August, you may have experienced a delay, a blockage, or a denial of some kind, and no matter how much you were trying to work on this, and also in the 12th house, it's behind the scenes, you can't really tell anybody, it's frustrating, it's affecting your mental, your spiritual, your emotional health, but you were working on something, needing to get it done, and you couldn't either receive the denial, or maybe just an opposition, you know, like a challenge from authorities possibly, or maybe from a foreign country, or maybe from an educational pursuit like a college, for example. But now, actually, on August 13th and onward, you are able to use that effort that you did behind the scenes, okay, in the beginning of August. You're able to use it to your advantage. And it could be, by the way, that you're gonna start feeling much lighter, much more positive spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You may also, maybe if you have had some sort of a spiritual crisis, you know, there was something that you believed in for a while, something that you were dedicating a lot of time to, it disappointed you to some extent, okay? So now you are entering a completely different practice, a new journey to explore, and it's exciting to you, and you are willing to put as much effort into it as you did in the old practice. And yeah, it's like it's opening it's opening your mind up a little bit more, and also it's opening your spiritual journey in a little bit of a different way, in a more positive way, something that resonates with you right now. And I always say that, you know, spirituality is important. You know, you start seeing the world through a different lens when you are spiritual or religious, whichever, and it helps to live. Okay, now August 21st, Mars is entering your first house. You guys are going to be the stars of the show until March 2023. there's a lot of self-development really that's happening. You know, you are going to be focused on improving your character, improving your goals, improving your just self-growth overall, improving your relationships with other people and how you treat yourself. And there will be ups and downs because it is Mars after all, and it is going to go retrograde. You know, you will be digging in your character, you will be digging in your personality, in your past a lot, you know, but it is still going to help you improve yourself somehow, grow, and yeah, I mean, other than, you know, like a personal journey that you're going to be very active about, and it's like Mars in the first, it is time to take care of yourself. You know, it's time to grow, to dedicate that time for your self-development, because, you know, when if not now? And that's what Mars is trying to tell you. And I believe that you will come out of this transit after March 2023 very renewed, very rejuvenated, very brave almost, you know, to conquer any challenges that come your way. So I think that transit is actually pretty amazing. And the last event, August 27th, there is a new moon in Virgo happening in your 4th house, and it's squaring Mars in the 1st. So new moon in the 4th house usually talks about some kind of an addition to your home, or you potentially traveling or moving homes, or maybe, you know, if you've been looking to buy a home, if you've been looking to rent a home, if you've been looking for tenants for your home, all of that can come to fruition around this time. And it seems like it's not really a bad thing. It's actually pretty important for you. You know, it does change your home environment to some extent. It may be that maybe you're going to start working from home. Maybe somebody out of your family will start working from home. You'll be seeing them a lot more often. There may be some new obligations, some new responsibilities and chores around home. I don't know. For example, I don't know, you're going to decide to build a fire pit and put rocks in your front yard, you know, something like that, and this is what you're going to be doing. And with Mars in the 1st, you know, making a square to Mars in the 1st, there's a lot of effort that's required from you specifically and nobody else. It's like the whole family or the house or the property, the realtors even, could be relying on you for something, could be relying for you to take a certain action, and you may or may not be fond of it, you know, but I feel like whether you want it or not, the action has to be taken, and I think you will take it, and I think that it will benefit you. Overall, it is a new addition in your home, or maybe you switching homes, you traveling kind of, you know, maybe for the next 2 weeks, or even for the next 6 months, you may be living somewhere else temporarily, and so on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now we're moving on to Cancer. Hi Cancer. So for you guys, this is a more pleasant month towards the end of August, you know, when we're entering Virgo season. But we do have the first event, August 7th, Venus from your 1st house is trining Neptune in your 9th house, and actually Venus will also oppose Pluto in your 7th house. There are some beautiful horizons opening up in front of you. You're very excited about the future. You're feeling the shift. You're feeling the spiritual shift. You feel like you're liking your future. Like you're starting to almost like your reality. You're starting to see the outline of the future, and you're actually feeling a lot more optimistic about it. You know, it could be a future that you have created for yourself almost spiritually, like in your dreams, maybe in your wishes. It is filled with honestly with spirituality, maybe, because, you know, we've got Neptune here. It's almost like you are romanticizing your future, romanticizing maybe a trip abroad, or maybe enrolling in a certain school, or maybe taking a spiritual course, or overall a spiritual journey of some kind. However, with a position to Pluto in the 7th, people that are in your day-to-day life, you know, people that you face constantly, one-on-one relationships, they can be like, what are you doing? You know, wake up, you have responsibilities, stop dreaming, wake up. You know, it could be that, but I feel like maybe a partner or someone in your circle is just simply not on the same page. You know, for example, you want to move abroad, I don't know, you want to move to Norway. I love my examples. You want to move to Norway, and you know, your romantic partner is at odds with it. They don't want to move to such a cold country. They want to stay in Florida. You know what I mean? It's like, it could be that. And it's just temporary tension just for a couple days, and it's maybe just a little argument potentially, but you may feel like you're tied down to a relationship of a specific relationship or specific, maybe even group of people, or a specific contract that doesn't quite let you dream. But it's just a couple days, because I believe you will still be taking that journey. You will still be fulfilling those dreams. And as optimistic as the future may seem, if you really think about it, if you really sort it out, and like the belief, the belief that you have about the future is very real. It is real, but there you may feel that oppositions a little bit, periodically, and there's just nothing that you can really do with it. It's there, and not everybody's on the same page, and it's totally okay. August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your 8th house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. So in this one, I feel like an old debt is coming into your life that you need to possibly pay off. It's a challenge. It's a challenging full moon. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to make a separate video about it. I'm intimidated by this full moon. I have a lot of fixed energy in my chart. But the good news about this full moon is that there is something that's been lingering almost since like 2021, maybe. 2020, late 2020, and it's time to finally finish it. There will be a chance given through this full moon to finish this project. It could be finally that you're going to pay off a loan, pay off a credit card, not have to deal with a certain bank or a lender anymore. Maybe you're going to be able to refinance your mortgage, which actually could be quite possible because Saturn is retrograde, redoing something. But it is an obligation, okay? So it's been something that you've been obligated to do for a while, and it is connected to resources, to finances. It is connected to maybe the money that you haven't earned, but you have to pay it back, right? Because you were given it at some point. This is where you might be completing it, and it does come through a challenge, meaning that maybe it was a big sum of money, or maybe it was just a challenge overall on your life, on the quality of your life. But it is finally completing. Aquarius full moon is giving you a chance to be done with it and not have to take it any further into your future. So we're clearing out all the karmic debt and all the financial debt now in August, okay? Now on August 13th, Mars from your 11th house will trine Pluto from your 7th house. After a kind of a crappy aspect between Mars and Saturn, okay, in your 11th and 8th houses around August 7th or 8th. So with Mars squaring Saturn, there seemed to be a goal that you have, that you want to move towards. It's a long-term goal. It's also maybe a reward that you've been wanting and that you've been deserving. But with Saturn in the 8th, something is restricting you from having that reward, or something is restricting you from dreaming big, or, allowing yourself to actually not just have those goals, but actually fulfill them, complete them, achieve them. Saturn in the 8th could have caused delays there. However, now, with the Mars from the 11th trining Pluto in the 7th, there may be an acquaintance that comes around. There may be an opportunity through a person, through a relationship, or through a new contract that comes around that allows you to actually move forward towards that goal, or maybe receive the reward that you've been wanting to receive for a while but couldn't. Something was stopping you, something was delaying the process. Now you're able to actually have it, okay, after August 13th, which is, I think, a wonderful news, especially after a period of delays and denials. August 21st, we're going to have Mars move into Gemini to your 12th house until March 2023. And I just want to warn you that this may be a time where you don't sleep well. Mars in the 12th, you don't sleep, especially in Gemini. You don't sleep. Your mind is very active, and it could be that you may start working on a very serious and very important project behind the scenes, and it will be taking a lot of your energy, a lot of your time, and a lot of your sleep, possibly. It could just be that your mind will simply become more active. There will be maybe something that you are possibly studying, learning, gathering knowledge. You're enthusiastic about it, but your mind is constantly busy. You have a hard time resting. Okay, this can also be a spiritual practice actually that may come up, that you will be really studying, really practicing, working on for a very long time, perfecting it almost, because you feel like you need it. You feel like you need that spiritual element in your life, and Mars in the 12th can actually give you that. But with Gemini, it wants you to study it front to back, you know, buy lots of books on it, or read a bunch of stuff online about it, or maybe take a course, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that with Gemini. Another thing with Mars in the 12th house is that you may be preparing to go abroad. And you may go there sometime even during Mars retrograde, especially if you've been there before. Or maybe you wanted to go there in the past but couldn't. Now Mars retrograde after October will take you there, will take you on that trip. As far away, the further away the better, considering, you know, 12th house is far away places. So this could be, yes, this could be maybe you preparing for a trip. August 27th, new moon in Virgo. We've got in your 3rd house, squaring Mars in the 12th. So, for example, if you are planning to go abroad, you know, there can be some visas, documents that are coming up that you might start having to start taking care of. You know, you will need to sign something, you will need to print something out, you will need to send something, and possibly wait for an approval or maybe for a request. And with a square to Mars in the 12th house, it may feel like maybe the other side, you know, the side that's receiving your documents may want more, and you have to do more, and you have to do it kind of behind the scenes because you can't quite get it done yet. There is work required behind the scenes, you know, there's work required without showing it to the world yet. So it may be that you're working through some sort of documents, but a lot of it has to be done behind the scenes rather than out in the open, or you could just simply talk about immigration documents or visas and things like that that you could be working on. Another thing here, it could be that you may find out something about either a person in your social circle or a relative, and it may or may not be pleasant, but I feel like it's just something new and something that you will now know. Okay, so this is how I would see this. Also, a new vehicle, or maybe you're selling a vehicle, or maybe you are trying to rent a vehicle, fix a vehicle, and so on. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Leo. Hi Leo. So for you guys, you are the stars of the show. Happy birthday to you. So with the first event happening on August 7th, we've got Venus from your 12th house making a trine to Neptune in the 8th house and opposing Pluto in the 6th. So it seems like spiritually you're feeling better and better and better. It could be that it's been a long journey of healing, a very long journey of healing, but now you are kind of picking up the pace and you start believing in the future. Venus trine Neptune is a beautiful, honestly beautiful transit. You know, it makes you feel more positive about the future, makes you feel more maybe spiritually inclined. It's like everything happens for a reason, and you know, I'm going to just let it go and not feel so tense, you know, just let the universe take care of everything. But it's usually nice and sweet and romantic, and it could be that your emotional health is somewhat feeling better, somewhat improving around this time. But opposing Pluto in the 6th, you know, it could be that while you are potentially feeling better emotionally and spiritually, your physical body may not quite be on the same page, and this is where you want to pay attention to maybe blood work, or maybe your muscle pain, okay, maybe neck pain. I'm not being specific in regards to the organs. I'm simply giving examples because, you know, when we have a lot of stress, when we have a lot of anxiety, it does take a toll on our physical body, and you know, it can be anything really. It depends on the person, and it can be that, you know, while you're feeling somewhat well emotionally, mentally, you're not quite feeling well physically. and you have to start taking care of that as well, which is only a couple days, you know, only a couple days you may feel that way, but it should be getting better and better as the time goes on. And also with Venus and Neptune in the 12th and 8th houses, there can be maybe a surprise that comes, from a partner, a surprise that comes in a financial form, maybe a bank or government, you know, IRS is going to pay off something to you that you didn't expect. But with Pluto in the 6th, it's like you may feel like your lifestyle depends, like it's in control of this debt that's being paid off to you, or that money that the government is giving you, or the bank, the loan that's being approved for you. You know, you may feel like your lifestyle, it's like it has a grip on your lifestyle, and you may feel just slightly uncomfortable for a couple of days. August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live in the world, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your 7th house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. Well, first house, 7th house action is usually very, very significant. It usually talks about major events in life, even though these are just ordinary new moon, full moon. But for those whose signs it's happening in, those feel like eclipses sometimes. And with full moon in Aquarius in the 7th house, this can talk about possibly a major contract coming to fruition. You're finally signing some kind of a contract, or you're finishing up the paperwork. You no longer have to come back to it. You no longer have to deal with it. Feels like relief, but through challenge, right? Because we have aspects to Uranus there. We have aspects to, well, conjunction with Saturn. It's a pretty challenging full moon, let me just tell you. It is. And I'll make a separate video on it. But conjuncting retrograde Saturn could talk about, you know, an old obligation that's coming back around, that now you finally have to deal with and complete and sign this damn paperwork and not have to deal with it again. It's been lingering since like 2021, guys. So it's an old project, it's an old contract, it's an old court case, it's an old relationship. It could be that, you know, somebody that you may potentially be romantically back and forth, toxic, unpleasant, you know, you feel like maybe you are kind of restricted, limited in that relationship, you want to break free. This is your chance to break free. If you didn't do it last year, you can do it now, okay? You can do it around this full moon. And of course, kids can be born around this time. Kids can be conceived around this time. Houses can be sold. Houses can be bought. But it gives you the feeling of liberation through challenge. Okay. Now, August 13th, Mars from your 10th house will trine Pluto in your 6th. After, same Mars from your 10th house making a challenging aspect to Saturn in your 7th house on around August 7th and 8th. So in this case, I feel like maybe there was something that you needed to take action in terms of your career responsibilities, in terms of you being open in the world and everybody seeing you and the authority seeing you and kind of judging you, you know, being the authority for others, or you having to stand in front of authorities. There was some action required from you there, and maybe you feel like around the beginning of the month you didn't quite receive the recognition that you deserved, okay? Square to Saturn in the 7th, the parties, you know, the opposite parties are kind of restricting you. So in this case, we have a beautiful aspect between Mars and, I mean, it's hard to call them beautiful, but Mars and Pluto are making a trine together, which means that you are able to either convince those same authorities, or you're able to kind of change something around your work routine, your work life, your status, maybe some paperwork, overall career direction, to where it is actually very favored, and where you are even able to change something within the company, maybe where you work, or your routine, your work routine, your schedule and things like that. You know, it could positively influence your work schedule, whatever you do there, work related. So please remain confident and take action while Mars is in your 10th house. You know, you can really show yourself from the best side, you know, not always, but you can. You know, you're given the chance to show your best self, to stand your ground, to prove yourself to authorities, management, and so on. So yeah, that's really nice. August 21st, we have Mars entering Gemini, your 11th house, until March 2023. That's a big event. And I would say that Mars in the 11th does give new goals, does give that drive to achieve your goals. You know, you could be very active around this time in terms of, I want this and this and this, and I know how to get it. You know, I'm gonna have this strategy on how to get it. Your mind is going to be very active with Mars being in Gemini. You know, you are going to have that air quality to you. But at the same time, you know, Mars in the 11th can also talk about a lot of new acquaintances coming around, communities changing, shifting, you leaving certain communities, you coming back to the old ones, considering that Mars is going to go retrograde, okay, after October. So you will be kind of going back and forth. Maybe you will be choosing friendships and communities that you truly want to belong to, that are keeping up the same pace as you. You know, Mars in the 11th can actually quite literally bring a new gym community, a new gym in your area, or maybe some kind of a workout routine where others are involved, like group classes and so on. So I feel like it could be actually pretty exciting for you, whether you are setting and achieving new goals, or creating or leaving and coming back to an old or new community. This can definitely be fun. And the last event I would like to mention is new moon in Virgo on August 27th. It's happening in your 2nd house, and it's making a square to Mars in your 11th house. There seems to be a new source of income that's coming around that you actually want to pay attention to, and you want to grab that opportunity. And it seems like it's something that could open up new horizons for you, something that could be very positive for you. But the only problem is that, you know, it's not quite aligning with your long-term goals. It's not quite aligning maybe with your friendships or with the community. It's like, hey, I spend 5 days a week at this community, for example, but making money this way is going to have me be, I don't know, out of town for 3 days out of that week. So it kind of disrupting that schedule that you have with a team, with a certain team. You could be changing teams in order to make that income come to fruition. Or it could be, for example, you starting to make money on your own away from the team. You were making money with the team together, and now you want to make money individually. So regardless, I feel like it's going to be a pretty good opportunity for you to take, whichever case relates here. And I think it's just going to be new ways on how to organize your income, how to save up for a specific purpose, for example, and so on. Thank you so much for watching, Leo. Now we're moving on to Virgo. Hi, Virgo. So for you guys, first of all, happy early birthday. We do have your season coming up, and I think that you're going to feel a lot more optimistic. You're going to be in the spotlight, and it's always good. Well, not always, but I feel like for you specifically, this can be very beneficial. Sorry about the light changing constantly. So on August 7th, we have Venus from your 11th house, making a trine to Neptune in your 7th house, and opposing Pluto in your 5th house. So there seems to be this optimism and almost like finding peace, beauty, joy, belief in the future, in the reality of the situation, even when it comes to your community, when it comes to your connections and people that surround you, your friendships, your romantic partners, your business relationships, just overall your community, the society that you belong to. You feel good, you feel like you belong there, you feel like spiritually it's aligning with your purpose. You feel good. However, with opposition to Pluto in the 5th house, you feel like at the same time, while this society, this community, this friendship, this project you're a part of is great, right, and it's aligning with you, you feel like maybe you are slightly losing your own self-expression. You feel like maybe the way you want to express yourself is somehow altered, or maybe it's being controlled by this community, and you may feel some sort of discomfort around this area, you know, in this area for a little while in the beginning of August. However, based on everything else that's going to be happening in the sky, you know, whether you feel that discomfort or not, I cannot really tell, but you may feel like you want to express yourself, but at the same time the community kind of forces you to express yourself along with other people, so you can't quite shine through, if that makes sense. That could be a feeling just for a couple days, okay? August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live in the world, we're going to have a full moon in Aquarius in your 6th house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. So there are definitely some challenging obligations that are coming back around here with retrograde Saturn, and you are liberating yourself through these challenges. You will no longer have to come back to those work obligations that are being put on you around this full moon. It's like it's done. And you know, it is a very challenging full moon, not gonna lie. I'm gonna make a separate video about it, but it feels like it was limiting for so long, and now that you're finally completing it, it's like, oh my god, I no longer have to come back to it. I no longer have to deal with it. You know, I can just I can take on different other, you know, projects. I can do whatever I want now. I am not tied down to this. And it can be a work project, and can be also a health issue that has been bothering you for a very long time. And it could be a work related issue or a health issue since 2021 or even late 2020, okay? So if you did not kind of get over it last year, which you probably didn't, you have that chance to get over it now in August, or I should say after August, and not have to worry about it anymore. Health issue, you can fix it, you can get over it. Work issue, again, the responsibility of some kind and obligation is required here, but you will get over it. Okay, so this is kind of how I'm seeing it, and it is related to the past. It is a conjunction to a retrograde Saturn. So you'll definitely deal with some old situations here, but you will liberate yourself, which is amazing. August 13th, we have Mars from your 9th house trining Pluto in your 5th, after, say, Mars in your 9th house squared Saturn in the 6th house on August 7th or 8th. So in this case, there seemed to be some kind of action that you wanted to take in the beginning of August when it came to your changing your schedule, when it came to maybe moving, traveling, or maybe arranging your lifestyle around school somehow that is more convenient for you, that allows you to get enough rest and not destroy your health and maybe not give you so much anxiety. But with Saturn in the 6th, you know, you were restricted. You were restricted by a certain health issue, possibly, to just be flexible, you know, when it comes to your goals, when it comes to maybe traveling somewhere, when it comes to maybe incorporating education into your day-to-day life. There was a health issue that may have been very restricting. There was maybe some kind of fear that was restricting. There was a work situation, work schedule that was very inflexible, very difficult to deal with. But after August 13th, you're actually able to, you know, Mars is making a trine to Pluto. It's like, oh my god, so these restrictions are lifted. I'm actually able to do something that I want to do, you know, 5th house. This is you, your self-expression. This is something that you do for kind of self-love and for joy, you know, to make yourself feel happier. And you're able to do that now, and you're the one taking that action. And it's almost like new horizons are opening for you, and there isn't that blockage anymore, and you are able to really feel free and do what you want and how you want, and feel more flexible when it comes to your schedule, when it comes to arranging your you know, day-to-day things and goals and so on. On August 21st, we're going to have Mars move into Gemini, to your 10th house until March 2023. You, just like all the mutable signs, are going to be affected by this strongly. It's time to change careers, or it's time to really take action in your career. Really prove who you are and what you deserve, what position you deserve, what kind of income you deserve, what kind of image you want to have and reputation in your career. And I'm not gonna lie, you know, Mars is gonna go retrograde. It's going to add different challenges into our lives in the form of go back in time, you know, finish this, finish that. Do you remember how you know, you used to act when you first started this job? Do you remember the obligations that you used to have? Well, how about these obligations are coming back around? How about you have to prove yourself again? It's almost like in order to receive a promotion or in order to kind of boost your qualification, you have to prove yourself one more time. Maybe you have to go back to the old projects and maybe redo them. You have to maybe focus on your status a lot more now and do everything possible to change your status now for the better. You'll have some things to do here. You'll be very active. There could also be some different things happening with one of your parents, to where maybe there are disputes and arguments, or maybe you're very active in terms of like helping them throughout this time as well. So it'll be a big transit, and we'll have a separate video on that. August 27th, we have a new moon in your first house squaring Mars in the 10th. So, you know, important, not only that Virgo season is approaching and it's important for you, but also when we have new moon and full moon happening in the 1st and 7th houses, these are very important times. It's almost like, you know, almost eclipse-like when it's your 1st and 7th houses. Usually even if it's just an ordinary new moon or full moon. Not for you though, you know, and for you, this new moon in the 1st house talks about a renewal of your relationships, of your goals, long-term goals, of your beliefs, of something that you see yourself, how you see yourself in the future. Okay, maybe some negotiations will be coming up, some new contracts will be coming up, a sale of a house, a purchase of a house, moving. Okay, kids can be born or conceived around this time. There is a new beginning for you, for your whole nature, for your whole soul, okay, and for the people around you as well. With the square to Mars, you feel like even though this new beginning is unfolding, your job is restricting you. Because there are so many obligations that are connected to your job, to just your image in the world, that you can't quite spread your wings yet. But you will, because not only that you will be given around 6 months to do so, you will also just feel like you need to take action in order for you to be happy with where you are in terms of your reputation, your status, your career image, and so on, like what you do for a living. You have to take action, whether you like it or not, and you kind of coming to terms with it, that you will, you know, a lot of work, a lot of effort may be required from you. You are going to move forward into this new beginning. I do believe that your life is going to shift after August 27th. You know, it's going to shift in a new direction, and you will be very excited about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Libra. Hi Libra, hope that you are doing well. So we've got August 7th, the first event. Venus from your 10th house is trining Neptune from your 6th house and opposing Pluto in your 4th house. Whoa. So 10th and 6th houses, you know, they're making a trine to each other. There seems to be this new role that you are trying on sometime in the beginning of August, and you're liking it. And it could be a new lifestyle. It could be like a new, you know, even though 10th house is not like 1st house, not like us, our looks, right? But it is how we're viewed in the world at the top of the chart, right? So how we're seen by authorities and how we're judged. And it could be that you're liking what they are seeing and what you are seeing, okay? You're receiving compliments possibly. You feel like there's a certain lifestyle change that you're enduring on that is helping you be seen, noticed, and recognized in the society or by the authorities. You're liking that flow. And you also feel like your career is taking you in the right direction. However, there is opposition to Pluto, of course, in the 4th house at the same time. So while the career goals are great and they feel about right, opposition to the area of home seems like maybe you're not quite spending enough time with your family. Maybe you're detached from family a little bit. Maybe you feel like your family or your home life, your private life has a hold on you, has a grip on you and control, to where you cannot quite spread your wings fully in your career, because you do have those home obligations. You do have, you know, things that you need to be doing, not just in the outer world, you know, but also at home. And it can be just a little bit challenging for a couple of days, but not really that big of a deal. August 11th and 12th, depending on where you are in the world, full moon is happening in Aquarius in your 5th house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. This one is a very challenging full moon, not gonna lie. For you guys, it's going to be felt in a more positive way. You are air signs after all. I will say that full moon in the 5th house, there can be, if you are currently pregnant, there can be a birth of a child, or there can be a conception, but it's something that comes through some sort of a challenge, you know, and you could be dealing with this since 2021. When it's connected to children, it's like it's a challenge that's coming to an end, but in order for a challenge to end, there has to be that one last challenging bit of action maybe, or information, or something there, you know, something that's in front of you that is kind of a pain, but at the same time, you know that once you deal with it, it'll be over finally. You feel liberated after this full moon. And you especially are feeling liberated in a very positive way because it's in your 5th house. There could also be a completion of a creative project, but this creative project is either turned into a work project, okay, because Saturn retrograde is here. Saturn is a planet of work. Retrograde, an old project is coming around. It's almost like you may decide to monetize a creative project now. Turn it into a source of income. There can also be possibly a restriction on your self-expression that you may have felt for a while, and you know, maybe even since 2021. It could be almost like a closet feeling, you know, and you are able to come out of the closet at some point, you know, in the middle of August, and it feels liberating, it feels good, and you do receive some supporting influence, even though, you know, conjuncting Saturn and making a square to Uranus, it's challenging to go through it at first, okay, but then once you actually express yourself, you feel more like you feel like you're acknowledged, and you're able to move forward freely and happily. August 13th, Mars from your 8th house is going to trine Pluto in your 4th house. After, the same Mars in your 8th house made a square to Saturn in your 5th house on August 7th and 8th. So at first Mars and Saturn clashed, and then Pluto saves Mars, it's in the future. I'm still recording this in July. So we've got, potentially a certain intimacy issue that could have come up in the beginning of August, okay? You may feel very restricted, you may feel like you cannot quite open up to someone, and especially connected to intimacy, right? You cannot quite be open. However, you know, on August 13th and onward, 8th and 4th houses, you're able to actually get over that issue, you know, get over that intimacy issue with someone, possibly talk it out, kind of feel it out, you know, really maybe spend time with the person and really understand that this is someone that you can trust. You know, like a trust issue can turn actually into a very trusting situation with the same relationship, with the same person. On the other hand, how this can play out is that maybe certain financial obligations were restricting your joy, your self-expression, you being able to really just do things that you love and not have to worry about maybe finances, or not have to worry about some kind of crisis in your life. And now with Mars trining Pluto, you know, there may be either your family helping you either to pay off something, like a family member is jumping in and helping you pay off something that's been burdening, so that way you can have that self-expression, you can positive self-expression, you know, you can do something that brings you joy. Maybe, you know, yeah, it almost seems like there is help coming from either a family member or someone that's very close to you. And also what it could be is that the property, potentially, if you've been needing to move, or if you've been needing to sell a property or buy a property or rent a property out or rent it for yourself, help comes, you're able to do it now. Okay, so it's like that financial obligation is being kind of resolved, and you don't have to worry about it anymore after August 13th. August 21st, Mars is entering Gemini in your 9th house until March 2023. Oh, lots of trips, lots of journeys, faraway journeys, legal journeys, spiritual journeys, different kinds of journeys are awaiting for you until March 2023. And there will be a journey into the past as well. because Mars will go retrograde, so we will either visit a country that we have been to in the past, we will maybe revisit a certain spiritual practice, we will revisit a certain court case possibly, but don't fear it, because you know, ninth house is making a positive aspect to you, and I do believe that this legal case, if you're dealing with it, is actually finally coming to completion, and it will be resolved around March of 2023. It's gonna be interesting because you will have that drive to learn, to gather as much knowledge as possible, maybe take a spiritual course here and there, you know, maybe learn a different culture, different language, and yeah, overall I think that could be a very exciting trip for you, whether it's metaphorical or physical, guys. And now the last event that I would like to mention is new moon in Virgo in your 12th house on August 27th, and it's going to square Mars in your 9th. Can be a challenging new beginning in terms of travel, because if you especially need to travel internationally, we've got new moon in the 12th house of faraway countries, right, faraway places, squaring Mars in the 9th, another travel house. So it's like you are forced in some way to undergo all these journeys, and you just don't want to, you know, you feel like maybe you are a little tired, you feel like you don't want to really move. However, it is a new moon and it's not really that bad, you know. I feel like this new moon shows us that we need to keep moving. We need to keep moving, we need to keep trying new things, we need to be more open-minded to new horizons. Again, different kinds of horizons, actual horizons, metaphorical horizons. And with the new moon in the 12th, it can also not only just talk about the trip abroad, for example, that some of you may make, it can also talk about a project that you're gonna start working on behind the scenes and reveal it in the next 6 months. And it may kind of interfere with what you believe in, because you're like, well, why should I have to work on it for this long behind the scenes? Why can't I tell anybody about it? You know, this is important to me. Why? But at the same time, intuitively, you understand that it's not the right time to reveal it yet. You need to work harder on it. You need to work longer on it. You need to pay attention to every detail. And that's what you're going to do, dear Libra. Thank you guys so much for watching. And now we're moving on to Scorpio. Hi, Scorpio. So for you guys, this month is, I mean, you and Taurus, you and Aquarius, you and Leo, you're all in the same boat. And I feel like for you it is going to be felt similarly like it would be felt for Taurus, okay? But let's just start. August 7th, Venus from your 9th house is making a trine to Neptune in your 5th house, and it is actually opposing Pluto in your 3rd house. So what it could be here is you could fall in love around the beginning of August. You could fall in love with a person, with a country, with a certain practice, okay, with a certain teacher, mentor in your life that you look up to. And I mean, not fall in love like romantically necessarily, you know, however, you could romanticize something in your life or someone, you know, whether they deserve it or not. But I feel like overall, you know, this is a very nice time. This is a very pleasant time for you. You're starting to feel more optimistic. You're starting to feel like, you know, there is joy on the horizon. There is happiness on the horizon. You start to feel support of the higher powers and the angels and so on. But it is opposing Pluto in the 3rd, so it's like the day-to-day reality is like, you know, bringing you back to the ground. What it could be to the earth, what it could be is that, you know, there is some grip that relatives have on you, or your community, like a local community, has on you, or somewhere where you go to every day, you know, and someone that you deal with kind of on the daily, they require something of you, and you feel like you're controlled. You feel like sometimes that you have a hard time dreaming about something big because this local person, community, whatever that might be, is taking so much of your energy and so much of your time. It may feel a little bit frustrating, but I feel like it's not going to be a big deal. I feel like it's going to be overpowered, okay, by Venus trine Neptune transit, because that one is so beautiful. You know, it is going to make you believe in a better future, and the better future is coming, guys. August 11th or 12th, depending on where you are in the world, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your 4th house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. We're going back in time here because, you know, with the 4th house, this is the past. Saturn is retrograde. They're also dealing with issues of the past, obligations, responsibilities of the past. The full moon is very challenging. I am going to make a separate video on it, and it is forcing us to complete something from the past. And it's an obligation, it's a responsibility, it's something that we've been hoping to avoid, but no. I mean, you could have avoided it technically last year, guys, 2021. Okay, you could have. Maybe you've finished some of it, but not all of it. It was still lingering until now. So now you have a chance to finally just be done with it and not have to worry about it, not have to carry that burden on your shoulders. And it is connected either to your living condition, to the place, country, town, apartment, house you live in, people that you live with, okay, or your family overall, some family traumas, family disputes, and so on. If you work from home, this can actually re-trigger that. You know, you will start working from home again, or maybe you're finally finishing working from home. Now you're going back to the office. So it's different for everyone, but I do believe that there is a past issue that's coming back related to your living conditions, and you're gonna deal with it once and for all and liberate yourself. So it's bittersweet, this full moon. You know, it's liberating us, but through a challenge. August 13th, we have Mars from your 7th house trining Pluto in your 3rd house. After, the same Mars in your 7th house makes a square to Saturn in the 4th house on August 7th or 8th. At first, Mars makes a kind of, you know, clashes with Saturn, and then it makes a nice aspect to Pluto. Losing my voice already. So guys, you want to do something with another person, and it's a collaboration. It's working on the same goal with someone, you know, and it's possibly also it can be breaking up with someone as well, because it is Mars after all. And whether it's collaborating with someone, for example, you want to move in together with a partner, right? Or for example, you want to break up with a partner. Either way, someone there is involved. You know, some kind of a party is involved. Your family can be at first kind of against it, either breaking up, leaving someone behind. Maybe they don't want you to leave something behind, someone or something behind, and it's like a contract as well. It can be, doesn't have to be a human being. And you feel like they are restricting you. You know, you don't like that. You don't like that they are up in your business. Another way how this can play out is maybe, let's say you want to find a property to work, I don't know, with your business partner, or maybe you want to move in with someone, and there are some restrictions connected to property. Okay, maybe not quite yet. You can't move in quite yet. You can't rent this out quite yet. The contract is not yet ready. Okay, however, after August 13th, Mars is making a trine to Pluto in your 3rd house. This is when the documents come up. This is when they're ready for your signature. This is when you are able to actually sign things and move in and, you know, break up with whoever you want and start dating whoever you want, you know, because 3rd house is so rich when it comes to what it can actually rule. So with Pluto in the 3rd, you know, this isn't just contracts that are on paper. This is also kind of the agreements, you know, the agreements that you have with other people. And I believe that also if you were looking for property, you will find one closer than you thought. Agreements, you know, with people could come up here, contracts, and so on. Now, also, I actually wrote this in my notes, your ideas, 3rd house, right? They could be finally getting approved by someone as well. First restricted, then approved. So if you do feel that restriction, that limitation in the beginning of August, don't get upset, because later on, around the 13th, it will be resolved. August 21st, Mars moves into Gemini, in your 8th house until March 2023. So this one, Mars in the 8th, it can make you feel very physically active, and I don't mean it just in the sporty way, I also mean it in a sexual way. This can definitely be a lot of that stuff going on, like maybe a new relationship that's very intimate, that's very hot, okay? However, this can also talk about going back to a certain relationship that has been intimate, or maybe a marriage as well, you know, because in the 8th house, it's like a partner that you share everything with, and it could be like a marriage partner as well. And there, you know, we can have some sexual energy, right, with Mars in the 8th, but we can also have energy of arguments and disputes. So the more connected you are to someone, okay, financially, intimately, by any other means, okay, the more chance that this can be hot in different ways, including arguments. This can make you very active, and this can make you want to pursue certain situations that need some attention, and these are usually unpleasant situations, like you know, critical crisis situations that require your attention. And you will be giving that attention, and especially when Mars goes retrograde in October, you will be paying very close attention to the problematic areas of your life and fixing them. And they're all lingering from the past, and now you're coming back and you're fixing them. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. Yeah, what else can I say? I mean, loans, you know, maybe you will be approved for loans, maybe you will pay off, you know, a certain amount to tax agency, or they could actually pay you back as well. Any debt that from the past that has been lingering will be paid now, whether by you or someone else to you, okay? August 27th, we're going to have a new moon in Virgo in your 11th house, and it's going to square Mars in your 8th house. So there is some kind of a new goal that is coming up, and it's exciting, and you know you need to adjust it still, you know you need to pay attention to details, you need to alter it somehow, or you need to just go over every single detail to perfect it, but you're willing to do so. And it's almost like it's opening up a new team or a new community in front of you, or maybe some acquaintances that could be very beneficial for your goals. It could be that you may find a team of people that are working on the same goal with you. Everybody's helping each other, and things seem to be beneficial for you in the long run. However, with Mars square from the 8th house, you know, you may feel maybe sometimes kind of tired. Maybe you may feel like subconsciously that you can't trust them. You know, sometimes it can be coming up as suspicions connected to the social circle, to this team of people. Sometimes you may be doubting your goals, and you shouldn't, you know, because it is a new beginning that will manifest fully probably within the next 6 months, whether there is a community or not, you know. And the suspicions, they will be there, or maybe doubts, they may be there. However, I encourage you to just move forward, because with Virgo new moon, you're going to be able to perfect something, make it proper, make it perfect, make it work for you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Sagittarius. Hi Sagittarius. So for you guys, this is a, you know, a more optimistic month, because we will still be in Leo season for a little while, and you will be able to reap the benefits of a sister fire sign. But let's start with your event. So August 7th, we have Venus from your 8th house trining Neptune in your 4th house and opposing Pluto in your 2nd house. So there seems to be this idea that, no, not idea, I would say this. There is a financial reward possibly coming. It could be a payout. It could be your family helping. Like, for example, your family contributing somehow to a certain project that you may have, and you require more resources, and here, the family gives it to you. It could also be money coming from the property. It could be possibly money coming from the government, like a payout to you, taxes owed to you, and so on, you know, you paying off a loan. But Venus trine Neptune, this is almost romanticizing something and feeling optimistic, feeling good about the future, also feeling actually more comfort in a home. It could be that maybe you've recently moved and now you feel more comfort, you know, in the area where you live, in the neighborhood where you live, less stress. It could be maybe that you are trying to find a place, or I don't know, maybe you're about to buy a place, sell a place, and you feel like this is good. You know, you're kind of romanticizing that town, or maybe that property, and so on. Or maybe the relationship with your family is simply improving and you're able to overcome certain crisis situations together, okay? But it is in opposition to Pluto in the second, so it feels like maybe the financial projects that you're working on, possibly, you know, some debts being paid off and things like that. You may feel like, yes, I've paid off this loan finally, I've paid off this car, but I don't feel like I'm doing well financially because of this. You know, I feel like the obligations aren't quite over. You know, I still feel like there is more that I'm gonna have to pay for. You know, it's like Pluto in the second, there is a grip on your wallet. And it's either something else that you might be paying off, or someone depends on you. Okay, that yes, you help them now, but, or maybe they have helped you now, but it's not like you're gonna be able to be helping them all the time, or that they're gonna be able to be helping you all the time. I want to say it's the element of doubt around this beautiful, you know, transit of Venus and Neptune. There is that element of doubt. However, I would try and ignore it because it's only going to last for a couple of days. August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live in the world, we've got full moon in Aquarius in your third house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. So there is a challenging situation connected to either relatives or documents, or possibly education, that is finally coming up to the surface, and you have to do something just one more time to finish it and to be done with it. There are documents usually involved in the third house with Saturn, and Saturn is retrograde, so the documents are coming back from the past to deal with, and you may feel to some extent frustrated, but you know that finally, if you bring that last paper, if you sign this last document, if you wait for the approval of this last document, you will finally be free. And this could be a situation that has been lingering since 2021 or even 2020, guys. So it's been a long time, you know, and finally we're given a chance to complete it now and to not have to bother with it, to not have to deal with it anymore. There is a dispute with a relative as well that can finally come up to its peak. You know, it's like they've been getting on your nerves, and now you have to solve this. You have to deal with the situation now and for all, and it's an old issue. It's not a new issue, it's an old issue. But regardless, you know, I feel like something here is completing. Education. It's been a very challenging kind of education, maybe, you know, had a hard time learning the skill. Now an exam is coming, and now you have to go kind of through the challenge of passing this exam, but you will pass it and you will liberate yourself finally. August 13th, we're going to have Mars from your 6th house trining Pluto in your 2nd house. After the same Mars in your 6th house makes a square to Saturn in the 3rd house on August 7th or 8th. So we've got some Mars action here. So what can I say about this? Mars trining Pluto, no, Mars squaring Saturn. There is a work obligation possibly, or a day-to-day obligation. Just overall, you know, the daily responsibilities, the daily obligations, they don't necessarily have to be connected to work, but they could be. They could still be somehow connected to work. So in this case, you know, you may have wanted to get something done, finish something up, or start something new, but something may have dropped a bomb on you around the 7th or 8th of August in terms of restriction. It's like you wanted to proceed with something, maybe submit this project, or maybe you wanted to change your routine somehow, and boom, something came up, something local, something right in front of your face, or maybe a letter arrived, some information arrived that is delaying a certain project that you want to start or complete, okay, or maybe to get it approved by someone. However, don't get discouraged, because around August 13th, Mars will trine Pluto in the second house, which most likely is going to give you a green light in terms of using the schedule to your advantage, finishing the project or starting the project, and even somehow monetizing on it or benefiting from it. Okay, it can be really beneficial not just for your wallet, but also for your own personal growth and worth. Right, so I feel like if you do experience a delay in the beginning of the month in terms of maybe paperwork or some letter coming in, it will be all resolved a little bit later. August 21st, Mars is moving into Gemini, into your 7th house until March 2023. Big deal, big deal. This is the 7th house. This is directly affecting you and people around you. And I feel like you could feel pretty active and have a lot of courage actually stepping up and interacting with people, networking with people, collaborating with people, but also dragging those people that are trying to take advantage of you out of your social circle. I cannot deny that there could be breakups happening, especially when Mars goes retrograde, because that's when you may start digging into the past. Into the past hurts, into the past relationships where people, have done you wrong. You could almost, not saying you could be really ruthless, because it is Gemini after all. It's a lot of like mental work, a lot of communication that will be happening. But I feel like your mind could be very sharp, and you could be kind of like that Queen of Swords or King of Swords in tarot, that just is able to cut the head off and not even bother, not even flinch. So this is how you could be towards your partnerships all the way until March of 2023. And of course, when it comes to other people, they can be also a little mouthy with you. They can be, they can be a little bit more snippy. You can have a short fuse when it comes to arguments with others and disputes with others, because, there may be that element of, I want to collaborate with people, I want to interact with people, I want all of these new acquaintances, or I want people around me, but I want the right people around me. And that's when a lot of communication will be coming up, and potentially arguments as well, guys. Also contracts, you will be able to be finishing old contracts and creating new ones and so on. And August 27th, we've got a new moon in Virgo in your 10th house, squaring Mars in your 7th house. There is a great opportunity to advance in your work. Okay, in your career and overall in your status as well. It does not have to be work, it can just be a social status. Status in your country, in your city, in your community, in your role. There is a great opportunity to do so. You do, however, have to alter something, pay attention to details, change something up a little bit, but it's beneficial. However, with a square to Mars in the 7th house, someone out of your social circle, maybe your romantic partner, maybe your friend, maybe your business partner, can kind of open their mouth and disagree with you regarding this new idea. However, I encourage you to move forward, okay, because this is a great opportunity that will unfold over the next 6 months. It can be very beneficial for your career. But people can distract you from the 7th house. You can even distract yourself because maybe someone is needing your attention. That you are maybe in contract with someone else, like you're locked with someone else, and here's a great opportunity, career opportunity. So you will need to decide around this new moon what is kind of more important to you for now, around this time, and move forward. But I do think that, a new beginning in your career could actually bring you some benefits, some even life-changing benefits, because it is in your 10th house after all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Capricorn. Hi Capricorn, I hope that you are doing well. So the end of the month, the Virgo season is going to be much more beneficial for you than the beginning of the month, but the beginning of the month isn't going to be that bad either. August 7th, we're going to have Venus from your 7th house making a trine to Neptune in your 3rd house and opposing Pluto in the 1st. So there may be some very nice, new, pleasant acquaintances coming into your life, and I cannot deny the fact that some of you could potentially be falling in love as well, because Venus and Neptune, this is definitely falling in love type of aspect. And there are these new acquaintances that you feel good about. You know, you almost romanticize them though. There are some projects connected to other people as well. They all involve other people. You know, they all involve maybe documents with other people, some signatures of other people. But you feel good about them. You know, you feel like you want to try something new. However, with opposition to Pluto in the first house, you may feel restricted sometimes. You may feel self-doubt. You may feel like there is a grip on you. It's like you want to interact, you want to network, you want to collaborate, you want to meet these new people, you want to date again, but you feel restricted. And I mean, I wouldn't say that Pluto is so restrictive, but Pluto is controlling and manipulative, and you can kind of almost manipulate your own mind sometimes when it comes to these people, almost like sabotaging a little bit, you know, because here these are great people to network with, or here are these great new friends, or here's a potential romantic partner. Why are you doubting yourself, right? It could be that. It could be. Especially they are in the third house. They could be online or locally. You know, you may feel doubtful. However, this is only the energy that's going to last for a couple of days, but I would be mindful of it because it can sometimes alter certain actions. It can sometimes stop you from opening up and so on. August 11th or 12th, depending on where you are, full moon is happening in Aquarius in your second house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. It's a challenging full moon. I'll make a separate video about it, but it does talk about maybe an old ways of making money coming back around, and you have to face it, and you have to restructure it, and you have to let it go. It's almost like you're about to start doing something totally new, either for your financial income, maybe a new job, maybe a new source of income, or maybe a adjusted source. Like, it's different now. It's a different platform. For example, how you make money, or maybe you make money through other clients, not the ones before. But there is this responsibility coming back around financially to look into, to change something up, possibly to maybe complete it once and for all, so you can move away, either legally, okay, or maybe just overall in terms of releasing those burdens from the past and not having to worry about it. For example, you know, I used to work on the app a long time ago. I would just do like really quick readings, tarot readings, and eventually I just had to finish working there because it was not aligning with my schedule anymore. So I was done with that source of income. It's like, you know, you may just have to alter something here, or you may have to just let go of something that no longer serves you, that's restricting you, because the whole point of this full moon is to liberate you from something that has been lingering since 2021 or even late 2020, guys. So I feel like, you know, this is gonna be good. You will be given a chance to get rid of it now, around this full moon. August 13th, Mars from your 5th house will make a trine to Pluto in your 1st house. And actually, after this same Mars in your 5th house makes a square to Saturn in your 2nd house on August 7th or 8th. So a few days before this event of August 13th. So what can I say here? There seems to be something that you would like to do for yourself. It could potentially be a creative project. It could be your own business. It could be maybe something with your children as well. Something that you want to do, something that you want to take action on. But you may feel restricted financially to some extent to do this. Saturn is in the 2nd house, retrograde, making a square to this action-oriented energy in the house of children, or in the house of self-expression, or creative projects, you know, or your own business. It's like you want to get this all done, but you need resources for this. Either maybe to go on a trip with your child, to buy something for your child, or maybe to improve your business somehow, to I don't know, to maybe pay the fees for the website and for the web designer and so on and so forth, right? It's like you want that, but you feel kind of restricted. Don't get discouraged, because on August 13th, Mars, same Mars from the 5th house, will make a trine to Pluto in the 1st. It's like Pluto being in your 1st house, you are the problem solver, you are the one that's always finding all the solutions, you are the best help to yourself, and you will find a way out of the situation to where you're able to afford something for either your child or your website, or you're able to really make things happen to where not only that you feel in control but also you can benefit from it. You feel joy from this, or if it's connected to children, maybe something beneficial for your children that you're able to make happen, right? So it's beautiful energy, actually. Yes, may feel a little restricted at first, but then as days progress, you know, you're able to achieve it. So that's wonderful. August 21st, Mars is going into Gemini, your 6th house, until March 2023. This one I would be a little bit careful with in terms of your health, because Mars in the 6th can make you very active, can make you want to hike every day and, you know, have this strict diet and, you know, kind of overwork your body, unfortunately. Sometimes we overwork our body with Mars in the 6th. It can unfortunately create some physical injuries, so please be careful. And of course, if there's any dieting that you want to do, any kind of lifestyle change, it has to be a lifestyle change rather than a short-term solution, right? Because with Mars in the 6th, it can be a little harsh. It can also, by the way, make not just your body tired, but your mind tired, because Mars is in Gemini after all, ruling the mind, right? Very active mind, very busy mind. It could add anxiety. Definitely anxiety, tiredness, lack of sleep, so please watch out for that. It could also be that you will finally start taking care of your health and finally start taking care of your day-to-day routine. For example, you will want to rearrange your schedule, especially when Mars goes retrograde in October. You will want to maybe get back to the old health routine. You feel ambitious, you feel excited, and you feel driven to do so, okay? And I can also say that Mars in the 6th can rearrange your schedule in a way that maybe you don't know about yet. You know, for example, you were going to work to the office 5 times a week, and now maybe, you know, you will be going to the office only 2 times a week and work the rest of the time from home, or vice versa, okay? Something like that could also happen. And the final event that I would like to mention, August 27th, there is a new moon in Virgo happening in your 9th house, and it's squaring Mars in the 6th house. So there is a new beautiful horizon in front of you that's opening up. It could be an actual physical horizon, like for example an international journey that you would love to travel somewhere to a different country, or this can be a journey more of like a spiritual journey, you know, you getting really aligned with your beliefs and imagining the future through the lens of those beliefs. And I feel like spirituality is so important because it helps us live through day-to-day challenges through the lens of our beliefs. And I feel like it's kind of getting to you now, and you want to see life through the certain lens, and you're doing everything possible to do so. It could be that you're very interested in a certain practice or religion or education, and you want to learn more about it. You want, especially Virgo ruled by Mercury, you want to study it. And I feel like it's going to be very exciting for you, but it can interrupt your routine somehow with Mars in the 6th house. You know, you may have to juggle this. You may have to find more time for this. You may have to readjust your schedule somehow. But I feel like it actually is going to be worth it, dear Capricorn. So I will make a separate video on this new moon. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. And now we're moving on to Aquarius. Hi Aquarius, I hope that you are doing well, and this is actually 2 hours later. My camera ended up dying and I found out I was out of focus the whole time. So let's move on to your reading. So for the month of August, you guys have a very great mission. I feel like you are culminating something that's been burdening you, bothering you, challenging you for a very long time. And finally, August will be either the beginning of the end, right? So you can complete this and liberate yourself, or maybe it's going to be the end finally. But let's start with the first event that I would like to discuss. On August 7th, we've got Venus trining Neptune. Venus in the 6th house, Neptune in the 2nd house, and Venus is also opposing Pluto in the 12th house. So I feel like there is some kind of a work project, possibly, that you can really benefit from financially. And you almost seem to romanticize this work project in a way. Not even romanticize, it's just that you feel joy, you feel positivity and optimism coming from a specific work related situation. I mean, work, can it ever be fun and joyful? I mean, it can be if you love what you do for a living, I think. And in this case, it seems like things are just coming together. Maybe it's much easier to earn a coin right now, around, you know, the beginning of August. Maybe your efforts are being recognized, and that is why it's more pleasurable, I guess, to even be working on certain projects, because you know that your effort is recognized. But at the same time, this could actually be something that you do for your health. It's almost like you treat yourself, you spoil yourself a little bit. You know, sixth house is our health as well, and our routine and our lifestyle. Could be maybe you purchasing something, I don't know, maybe like a membership for a gym, or maybe some kind of a new equipment. Maybe you're building a gym at home. Maybe it is some kind of a new diet, lifestyle that you are trying to, you know, come up with, and you're kind of making arrangements there, but you feel good about it. The only thing is, Venus is also opposing Pluto in the 12th house. You may feel a little bit restricted in terms of mental health. Like you may feel like, well, maybe this is not for me, maybe I will not be able to do this, maybe you know, these work projects aren't always going to go well, maybe this work opportunity that I have right now isn't really going to manifest into anything substantial. You know, maybe these are just rose-colored glasses. There could also be some anxiety, just some fears surrounding any kind of new beginnings in your life. So just watch out for that energy. Pluto in the 12th can be pretty intense. It can give us really intense fears, especially of something that's not even the reality. Okay, so you could be thinking more negatively about the reality of the situation. That's just something to consider here, you know, with this transit. But it's short lasting, and I feel like Venus and Neptune are going to promote more joy and more optimism, okay, moving forward. Now, August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live, we've got full moon in your first house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. It deserves a separate video, of course. But this event talks about, like I said, something really challenging in your life. Something that could be connected to you, could be connected to your relationships, could be connected to your health, could be connected to your future goals, could be connected to your past, could be connected to your traumas, to your wounds, to your living situation. So many things could be coming up here that have been really challenging in the last couple of years. And right now, we're given a chance to break free. We're given a chance to finally culminate something from the past, because we have Saturn retrograde sitting there. Something from the past, something that's been burdening, something that's been an obligation, right? So we can spread our wings and finally leave the situation behind. And we did have an opportunity to do so last year around full moon in Aquarius, right? In 2021. And I don't know what you've done there, but probably you have not finished. You know, you still had some kind of an unfinished business lingering here in 2022 now. So now we have that chance to finish it, to be over with it, and to not have to come back to it ever again. And I feel like it is a win-win, right? It is definitely you getting over something, but through a challenge, you know, because Saturn is here holding a grip on you, and it will loosen that grip in March 2023 when it moves into Pisces. But as of right now, I feel like you are setting yourself free. You're going with the energy of Uranus. You're breaking out of a certain limitation. It's like these four walls that you've had around you since 2020, late 2020, and the whole 2021. It will feel liberating, but you may also feel like it was way too challenging. You may feel drained. You may feel like you've lost all of the physical strength possibly, or you know, you can be very tired mentally, but you will get through it. You will get through it. I don't know what it is, because it is the first house. It can literally be anything. Okay, it can be a very strong identity crisis or health crisis if you are Aquarius sun. But it's something that is finally being liberated, and I'm honestly, like, I think it's a good thing. August 13th, Mars from your 4th house is making a trine to Pluto in your 12th house, but only after the same Mars in the 4th house makes a square to Saturn in the 1st house on the 8th of August roughly. So it seems like there is something here that you are trying to actively change. It is connected to your living conditions. It is connected to you know, that environment that's not really seen by too many people, that is seen only by you and people that are your loved ones, people that live with you, your family, and so on. You're trying to actively change something there. You're trying to maybe make yourself feel a lot more comfortable living in your town, living in your home. Maybe you're trying to solve certain issues or certain disputes with the family members. Maybe you're actively trying to sell a property, to move, to buy a property, and so on. And you may unfortunately receive an opposition, or I should say it's a square, but you may receive blockage around the 8th or 7th of August in terms of maybe an interaction or a contract with you and other people, between you and somebody else. There is a living condition that you're about to change, or needing to improve something there, adjust something, and you are receiving a blockage from either a person that is supposed to help you with this, or maybe you're not even self-confident yourself, since Saturn is in the 1st house, whether or not you can do it. You know, it could be that you're trying to get other people to be involved, but they have a hard time doing that as well. You know, it's like, well, how can I even do this if, you know, I can't do this all on my own? But actually you'll be able to, because moving on to August 13th, when Mars, same Mars from the 4th house, makes a beautiful trine to Pluto in the 12th house, things will kind of be, things will make sense. And it seems like you will be able to become more self-confident in terms of what you need to do now with your living conditions, with your family members. There seems to be maybe some information that comes around that is very powerful, that allows you to act, that gives you the green light. Maybe how to sell this place, how to get rid of this place, how to finally find peace in these family disputes, possibly, you know. There is this there is a lot of action required from you here, but at the same time, while it starts with a blockage, it actually ends with more control in your hands and you being able to manipulate the situation in your favor. And I feel like, you know, for those that have been needing to move, or have been needing to sell or buy property or something, you know, maybe do some kind of a remodeling, will be able to do so after August 13th. The 4th event, August 21st, Mars is moving into Gemini, into your 5th house until March 2023. That's a positive transit for you. I feel like for single people, Mars in the 5th can bring all kinds of suitors into your life. It can just bring a very busy dating life, dating scene. You could be very active on social media since Mars is in Gemini. You could be very active on those dating websites. You could be going on dates. You could be communicating with a lot of people. And it's very bubbly energy, you know, even though it's Mars. But when Mars goes retrograde, there may be some interactions that are coming back from the past, and those interactions can be, some of them, tricky. There may be more arguments with people, more arguments with these suitors, like people just don't relate to you, people just aren't on the same page, or I should say you're not quite on the same page with these people. You know, you may find that all the creative projects are kind of lacking substance. You know, it's like, yes, I thought that this was great and I thought that this could really work, but now, you know, that Mars is retrograde after October, I don't feel that way. I need to restructure something. I need to rethink this. I need to rebuild something here. So it could be quite possible. However, still, anything that is connected to creativity, anything that's connected to competitions, contests, anything that's anything that's connected to dating will be very active there. And of course, also, if you've been wanting to conceive, that can be a very great time to do so. Mars in the 5th brings a lot of activity. in that area, and also in the area of intimacy as well. And finally, August 27th, we've got a new moon in Virgo in your 8th house, squaring Mars in the 5th. It can be that, you know, with all the creative ideas that will be coming up for you through the transit of Mars, for the transit of Mars in your 5th house, it could be that a lot of them require more money. It could be that you may have to take out a business loan, for example, or maybe you may have to pay something off so that way you can actually use it for your creative endeavors, for your own business and things like that. New moon in the 8th house usually will talk about a new loan, maybe that you may apply for an approval of a loan, maybe a bank paying you back, or maybe a government paying you back, or maybe actually it can be a collaboration with the partner. So, for example, you and your husband or wife, you want to start a project together and monetize on it together. But it can also just be a new beginning in partner's life, especially when it comes to their finances. And you are a direct witness of that. And with Mars, with a square to Mars in the 5th, it's like you feel like maybe you cannot quite express yourself fully how you feel about the situation. It's like, yes, these new beginnings are happening, but you almost don't have the right of say in this. And same with a collaboration with a partner. You feel like they're leading too much, that you can't quite express what you want out of the situation, what you want out of this collaboration. And of course, you know, when it comes to, for example, expenses for children, that can come up as well. You know, it's like so much is required to pay for a child, for example, that you may be considering different resources, you know, like help from other people, for example, not your earned money, but maybe money from someone else. But overall, this is more of an exciting time. I do not think that it's going to be too stressful by any means. So I feel like the craziest time will be, gosh, my hair, the craziest time will be the beginning of August, mid-August maybe, but not so much late August. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Pisces. Hi Pisces. So the camera died. I came back a couple hours later, and I was out of focus the whole time, so I apologize for that. I think it's a little bit better now, but still kind of a mess. So Pisces, an important time is approaching, just like for Virgos, just like for Sagittarius, just like for Geminis. Not so much for Geminis and Sagittarius, to be honest. For you and Virgo, this is a more important time approaching, because it is a Virgo season, which means your 7th house gets activated and 1st house gets activated as well. I feel like for Pisces rising, and yeah, for Pisces rising, not so much for Pisces sun. I feel like September, August, October, and February, March can be very significant seasons. You know, a lot of things could be changing in their lives throughout that time. I mean, I admit this is a thing with me, you know, not of course every year, but most of the time, yes, significant changes do come into my life as a Pisces rising around September for some reason. But August 7th, we have Venus from your 5th house, trining Neptune from your 1st, and opposing Pluto from your 11th house. So with 5th and 1st house, first of all, you can fall in love. You can fall in love with the idea, with the person, with a cause, with a project, something creative, maybe something that is your own business. There is something that you are in love with, and something that you are almost romanticizing. Also, it could be that a relationship with your child can receive a boost, and it can be very fun and exciting, and you know, no matter what issues are there, you feel good. You feel good about the future. You feel good about, I don't know, your family, for example. And there is an opposition to Pluto. Of course, not everything can be super sugary, right? There has to be something. So with Venus opposing Pluto from 5th to 11th house, you may feel like your long-term goals are restricting your short-term goals. it's like, well, I want to do this and this and this, but how about, but I want to move there in 2 years. You know, what if I just start this now? It's gonna interfere with my long-term plan to move. You know, example, obviously, it could be that you may be feeling that way. You may feel a little conflicted in terms of what goals you should prioritize. Long-term goals, something that may potentially manifest within a couple of years, or maybe short-term goals, you know, something that you need to do within the next couple of months. What is more important? You know, what should you be working towards? This is gonna be a conflicting situation, but mild, not very direct, not very long-lasting. Another thing how this can play out is that, for example, if you are actively dating, you're single and you're actively dating, and there could be some suitors coming in here, by the way, very beautiful. Not the suitors, but the energy. And with Pluto from the 11th, you know, friends can be requiring a lot of your attention, or maybe they will try and have their say in your romantic connections, and this may not always be aligned with what you want or what you like. You may receive that opposition from the community and from friends. You may also feel very detached from a current community that you are in. You feel like your endeavors are somewhere else and further away from what the community wants, what they're used to, and you may feel at odds as well with that community. On August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your 12th house, conjunct retrograde Saturn. I feel like this one is big for Pisces, because that's the only sign who has a full moon in Aquarius happening in the 12th house, okay? And this is a very, very challenging full moon. Cannot sugarcoat it. It's not a nice energy, and considering that it's making aspects to Uranus and it is conjunct retrograde Saturn, I feel like something is finally liberating us. Something is liberating us, but through a challenge, because we have to release the burden that's been with us since late 2020, throughout also the whole 2021. I have a lot of fixed energy in my chart. It's been definitely felt by me strongly. You know, I don't know about you guys, if you're just Pisces, maybe with some, I don't know, cardinal energy, maybe with some mutable energy, maybe not so much, but if you do have fixed energy, you know what I'm talking about. 2021 was not an easy year. And this is the energy of 2021 entering the field again, and but it's there to be released, which is great. You know, we try to release that energy, that fear, possibly, because, you know, full moon in the 12th house, it can be fear that's being released. It can be a fearful situation coming to an end. We tried to do that last year around, you know, a full moon in Aquarius last year, 2021, but it may not have been the case. It may not have been easy. So we have that round again, full moon in Aquarius, giving us a chance to complete it once and for all, and to not bring it into our future. And that's what excites me about this transit. We will have Saturn retrograde, so past traumas may be coming up, past fears, something that's been sitting there in the subconscious for a very, very long time. And there may be, for some people, a fear that has to be faced one more time, you know, just to overcome that fear and to no longer have to deal with it. For others, it could be maybe a very difficult trip abroad that's finally going to be over, which I think is going to be my case, because, guys, I'm used to traveling by plane all the time, long trips, long flights. It's fine. But with a toddler by myself, I'm terrified. I'm so terrified how he's going to handle it. People on the plane, you know, you really don't want to be that person that everybody doesn't like on the plane because you are the one with the child. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, I'm obviously being, you know, dramatic right now, but I am worried about traveling, and it's gonna be a long trip. So, you know, it could be that a challenging trip is finally kind of culminated around that time, and maybe you were worried about the trip for a while, and now it's finally done through a challenge. Yes, not an easy trip, but it's done. But also, I feel like it's about our psychology. You know, it's about the fears being released through having to face them. Difficult energy, but it almost can make you feel that, you know, now I do not want to be afraid of this anymore. I do not want this to control me anymore. You know, and once Saturn really moves out of Aquarius, which will be March 2023, you know, we'll move out of our 12th house, things will obviously be so much easier. But until then, we're still working through our issues, and I believe August is that pivotal point when we will know for sure that we're not bringing this energy into the future. This energy will no longer control us in the future. On August 13th, Mars in the 3rd house will make a trine to Pluto in the 11th house. But a couple days before, on August 7th or 8th, this same Mars from the 3rd house will make a square to Saturn in the 12th house. So, the very first event around August 7th or 8th could bring up some challenging mental activity. You know, you could be really fearful. You could feel anxiety, you could feel restricted in terms of how you should be feeling right now. You know, there could also be, I mean, 3rd house documents, 12th house immigration, faraway places, could very well be that you might be dealing with some documents, immigration documents, and you feel like, you know, you're experiencing these delays and this opposition from the authorities, possibly some mix-up with the documents. Please be very careful around this time. But also, you know, with Mars in the 3rd that wants to be active, you know, the mind wants to be active, and it is very active. And then Saturn in the 12th adds fears. It's like the person can feel really anxious around this time. Simple as that. However, on August 13th, this same Mars, active mind, right, will make a trine to Pluto in the 11th. So I feel like you may overcome a certain fear. Or maybe you may actually proceed with a certain set of documents, for example, with certain educational pursuit, with a certain skill, and you will apply it to a certain long-term goal of yours, and it will be very positive. It will be like a huge door opening for you. Like at first you feel that restriction and fear. You feel, I should say, restriction from fear, from the 12th house. It's sitting there and it's scaring you, you know, but then once you actually overcome it and you move forward, you're able to open a bigger horizon for yourself, a bigger door, maybe an entrance to this new community of people that are supportive, that are on the same page with you. You may feel really good about your long-term goals and about people that surround you. So it's about, I feel like, around August 7th or 8th, overcoming the fear, and after the 13th, no more fear, active mind, sharp mind, being able to apply it to whatever you need it applied to. Also could bring you a really interesting acquaintance, someone significant, and someone that could be kind of powerful and influential and really help you throughout your life. August 21st, Mars moves into Gemini in your 4th house until March 2023. That's a big transit for Pisces because, you know, in the 4th house, this is our living conditions. And Mars in Gemini is restless, and Mars in the 4th house is restless. So you may feel like you cannot quite relax at home until March 2022. There will be a lot happening. There will be a lot of activity. I mean, for me, you know, I work, I'm in school, I take care of a toddler, plus I'm traveling back and forth in late summer and fall, you know, so it is a challenging energy. It's not necessarily the most relaxing energy, you know, it's not really evenings spent with a book anymore, at least, you know, not anymore for me. So it's a lot, you know, and you could feel exhausted and you could feel overwhelmed with all of these responsibilities at home and daily activities, and also somehow trying to find time to rest. It could also be the time when you may remodel your house, where you may readjust something. You know, with Mars going retrograde in October, you could maybe decide to, I don't know, go back to the old house projects that you may have abandoned and finally incorporate them. You may unfortunately also run into different arguments and disputes with people that live with you, your family, which I'll be seeing soon. I haven't seen them in 3 years. So it's like, yes, you know, while you're very active, possibly, I don't know, doing a lot of things with people that live with you and with your family, but at the same time, you can feel that energy of argumentative energy. You know, there will be things to argue about. There will be things where you may be clashing, and it's just something to accept and something to keep in mind, right? And with Mars retrograde, especially, past hurts, past things, you know, things from the past could be coming up, and while you could be picking up those old projects, you could also be picking up those old fights as well. And the last event that I would like to mention is August 27th, new moon in Virgo in your 7th house, squaring Mars in your 4th house. So with new moon in Virgo, by the way, I apologize for the background noise. I actually just noticed it. They are building a house across the street. So yes, new moon in the 7th house talks about a new step between you and someone else. Doesn't have to be a romantic partner, even though it can be, because with Venus trining Neptune in the beginning of the month here in the house of dating, and then a new moon in the 7th house, house of partnerships, you could actually, you know, start dating someone throughout August and then become partnered with them towards the end of the month. But at the same time, this is just a new step, a new beginning in a relationship with someone possibly important, someone that you are connected to, maybe through a contract, or maybe through a business proposal, or maybe this is your romantic partner. Okay, this may be even a friend. But there is a new beginning that is great for you, great for your personal growth, but it somehow interferes with what you want to do with your family or with your living conditions. It's like, move on with this contract, but be away from home. Move on with this relationship, but make sure you know that the family isn't very accepting. I don't know, spend money on this with a partner instead of remodeling your home. There seems to be an energy of kind of like sacrifice for a little bit, okay? Because you have to sacrifice something within the home or private life to be able to make this new beginning come to fruition in its full way, in its perfect sense, and you will be given 6 months to do it. And I think honestly that it's going to be fine. I think that it's a big new beginning for you specifically, because 1st and 7th houses, they are really touching on any area of life. That's why I'm not being too specific what can manifest, but it will be great, it will be big, and it will be remembered by you for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.